We invite that everyone address our assembly with words of inspiration, lessons learned, or passionate ideas. Every opinion expressed here is strictly that of the person who gives it. Let us consciously and lovingly agree to disagree if it does not resonate with us. The topic for today is Trinity and Trinosophia, answering Oppenheimer's call for peace. And it's my pleasure, of course, to introduce Christopher Reynolds, who will be our speaker for today. Did you bring your bio?
Pick it up.
Yeah. Wow. So Christopher is a wonderful speaker, and he's always he walks in peace, and he brings peace wherever he goes. And he works with many organizations. One, the Warrior's Journey Home, which is to help vets return home and to help them come to peace back home with their surroundings, because when they're out there experiencing so much that we can't even fathom. That's one of the big things Chris does. And he just, every time he speaks, I learn so much, and I'm excited to hear today's talk. He's explained Trinity and Trinosophia to me many times, and it does take a few times for it to really sink in. And so I'm excited to hear today. So.
Yeah. Is that all right? I'm going to walk around. Thank you. It's always an honor to participate in this community. I'm very aware of the history that the reason why is that as a school teacher, I taught for 30 years in American public schools. So I've got the boots on the ground, and I've been there. And what's killing our children is broken hearts. In the last 8 years of my career, six boys committed suicide because they didn't know what are they going to do if their girlfriend leaves them. And so broken hearts is not just killing our kids, it's killing everybody. To the east of us, the Haudenosaunee, they have a tradition called condoling, where if your heart is broken, they have a ceremony to wipe your tears so you continue your life. And up around the Great Lakes, the Ojibwe or the Anishinaabe, they have their tradition. And they connected to the four directions, that a culture that has lost the four directions, you can know that culture because the old people are bitter. And I've been around this for a while. I think this is true about our culture. How it sounds is, it was way better when I don't know what these kids are doing. And it turns out that the people who should be blessing the most vulnerable are cursing them by either saying nothing or saying, he had to go through a hard thing. And like, what the hell? And then the adults are competing with each other all the time. And I think that was, for me, I got adopted by the Lakota, and the great gift to me was the pipe. The pipe is the male and female in relationship with each other in balance and in love. And, I was brought up Catholic, and I wouldn't be here without the 12 steps, so my family got sober. But there was still a competition between me and my wife, the whole marriage, and I participated in it too. And when we sit down, it's still kind of there, like the partners are competing with each other in all ways, like who loves who the most and all this. So, and then the children imitate the parents and the grandparents, so they're all competing with each other. So do we have something like a pipe from our culture? And we do. I learned this from Robert Sardello in 1992. I don't understand it fully. I'm still working on it. So all I'm doing is like, these are tools that are helpful to me and helpful in my family. And so I'm sharing it with you. Especially with Oppenheimer out, Christopher Nolan wants the whole planet to talk about this. We have to stop using these kind of weapons. And this includes all people that, for us, it's important to not participate in the kind of mindset that thinks that's okay. And there still is a lot of religiously sanctioned and politically sanctioned idea that, oh yeah, it's okay to use that. Like, what the hell? So to start to be able to realize where we're participating in the insanity and that we would heal ourselves so that others could be healed. Back to the tradition here, after the Collingwood fire, the parents were brokenhearted because the children had died. And this very community was, in the old days, you've grown out of a tradition that goes to where the people need the most to know that the people that we thought have passed have not. They're still with us, and they're okay until, so there's a sacred calling that's connected with this community. How this will be helpful to you is, it's too much to carry. What's being carried here is too much to carry if we leave out our own personal work, our own individual work. So I'm gonna hand out a few dollars. You need $1 to look at actually for today's lesson. Here, you get $1 out. Yeah, it needs to be a 1. And you guys can share, like sit where you can all look at a 1.
Thank you.
You can keep it. This is a Church of the Angels gift. Your own $1 over there too. Anyone else need one? So we have an awesome tradition, actually. Let's start with this. It's been hidden in plain sight for a really long time. And I'm just going to unpack it. The person who clued me into this was Joseph Campbell, first in Power of Myth, and then there's a book called The Inner Reaches of Outer Space. So you start with the 1. This is the image of the 1. So I'll pass this 1 around. It's important to know when you're thinking about the 1, what idea you should use about the 1. So you can use your mind as a blade. And there's lots of traditions about sharpening the blade of the mind. This is the mathematics of the blade of the mind. It uses 0. It's powerful. It's awesome. You can split the atom and you can destroy the whole earth with this mind. Our entire educational system is all about sharpening this tool. And if you use this mind to try to understand what we do here, you will miss it because you're not using your mind in a whole way. So step 1, if you hold up that, where's the sphere now? Is it going around? So in the older tradition that is actually of our own symbol there, you don't use mental reasoning, you use soul reasoning. And soul reasoning doesn't ask, is this right or wrong? Is this the right or the left? Is this for me or against me? It asks, is this whole or is this something partial that is presenting itself as whole? Is this whole or is this something partial that's presenting itself as whole? The other ways to describe this is this healthy or is this sick? So healthy is it's whole and it's open. So in that opening statement, there's room for everybody here, and even people we don't know are sitting with us. Versus sick would be, it's a partial thing that pretends it's whole, but it's not. So you cannot get the wholeness using your mind this way. You can split the atom and destroy your enemy and conquer the whole world, but you're not going to be whole ever. So to the east then, part of the reforms of Handsome Lake was that you need to stop praying to God the controller. In the early days, before Europeans came here, there was no difference between the word for creator and the idea of controller. So the controller of all things. And Handsome Lake's teachers, who are spirits, told him, you have to stop praying to the controller of all things, because a bad spirit has taken up residency there. Pray to the creator of all life. And that's the same thing, the idea of using your spirituality as power over others versus a spirituality of love. So the one that's going around the room, you can see it in the Fibonacci sequence. This is all over the place. When you go around the world, the one that we all come, it's okay. Okay, sorry. The one that we all come from, there's no name for it. It feels like this. It's here. It's not even it. So our understanding of one comes out of the one. Any idea we have of one is always partial. Any idea we have of one is always partial. This is the American dream. Nobody captures the flag. Nobody is in charge of this thing. We're all trying to work it out together. So this kind of mathematics is the mathematics you'll find all over the earth among indigenous people. They don't use zero unless they're working with us and we're trying to work with money, or when you want to measure stuff, how much this weighs and stuff, it's great. You can't use this math to measure things because it doesn't make sense. It's like such a big thing. You're like, what the hell are you talking about? So this is the very whole numbers. And the way these work is, so the one that's in the center, the one over the one, sorry, the one over the one is that sphere going around. And in one direction, it keeps getting bigger and bigger, and there's no end to how big it can get. And the other direction, it keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and there's no limit to how small it can get. This is a description of wholeness. It's a whole description that you can never reach the end and say, oh, I got it. So the original teaching here has to do with the circle. The circle, right now, I think they're up to 83 trillion digits for pi, how the inner and the outer connect to each other. So if you really use math with respect, you know that sometimes you'll use your mind to do your checkbook, and other times you'll use your mind to understand God and yourself and each other. So these are the two kinds of math. The makers of that seal knew this. They still know this. It's not a big trap. It's not a like, we're going to try to control the whole world, because that's like actually not what we're trying to do. There's supposed to be a new light to come upon the earth. And democracy, hopefully, is that each human, all life is respected profoundly as it should be. So can you hold the... In 1992, I saw this for the first time. Robert Sardello. He said, okay, so you all know the Trinity. And he just drew letters. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. This is only half. And so I can tell you that the back of the dollar bill is a warning. Don't follow this guy. In the movie Lord of the Rings, I think they did an excellent job showing Sauron, the being that wants to control all life, as an eye that never goes to sleep. That's half. The other half of this is our work. So this is Trinity. And Trinosophia is downward. So I remember sitting there, I'm still coming out of Catholicism. He said, so opposite the Father, who's opposite the Father? And I'm thinking, the devil? And he goes, the Mother. And I went, oh, that explains a lot about my life. But the Mother, and opposite the Son is the daughter, and opposite the daughter is Holy Soul. This is our work. Everybody has this work to do. And I'm saying that because the United States is the country that dropped those bombs, it's on us to do the Trinosophia work. So these aren't beings or powers to be praised or raised up or something. This is activities that we do. The mother is remembering, remembrance. Our work is to remember ourselves. We must remember ourselves. Whenever you get sick, in the indigenous cultures, they're taking you back so you remember yourself. Always remember yourself. To have a culture that says, I don't know why you're here, is a culture that has forgotten itself. I keep hearing over and over recently people saying, I don't know why I'm here. Who would choose this life? Why is this? And so this is how it sounds. And these are people that commit suicide. They don't want to be here. And around them, what I think is, what weighs on me a lot is I see everybody standing around going, well, I don't know what you're supposed to do. Like they're saying, do you got something for me? And so I'm saying, yes, you got something for them. It's actually our own tradition. So the easiest place to work on this, you can all do it, is in dreaming. Everybody dreams. Your dreams are the most original thing that you do. Nobody can wave anything over you or do some kind of operation or give some powers message to you that is as important as your own dreaming. But your dream is not enough unless you remember it and you take care of it. We all have to mother ourselves. We have to mother ourselves. We have to remember ourselves. So as you're working on the dream, so last night I dreamed of a father and a daughter. And I'm thinking, okay, I wonder if it's about this talk today. And the father kept talking and the daughter ran away down a stream and interrupted his talk. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try not to be too talky. I'm sorry. So I cut out about half of what I was going to say. When you work on your dream, work on it with love and with art. It doesn't matter. Just talk to somebody. And by the way, you need someone who loves you to do this work with you. You can't just go off on a mountain or do like Wim Hof breathing for a day, working on your dream, and then come back and go, yeah, I'm good. Like you got to talk to somebody. You got to share it with somebody. Ideally, it would be with an elder who like actually studies their own dreams and then like, oh, I remember what something like that. The daughter, then these are qualities of relationship. As you study your dream, what opens up is new possibilities of behavior for you, new potential. You could do what you were going to do, but you know what? Here's 10 other ideas that you might try. And then Holy Soul is when you're awake and you're walking around, that you have potential that you're carrying that can change the world. The Father then is your will, what you decide to do, how you captain your ship. You got to take care of that. Just thinking you're right turns out to not be worth very much on the earth. Just thinking you're right is not enough. So the Father needs the mother. This is willpower, or it can be imagination. The Son is the action that you actually take. Ideally, the action you take, I'm trying to do it right here. I had more to say, but I'm not saying it. The action I'm taking is because of the dream I had, and I'm being a better son. My action in the world is better. And Holy Spirit is the energy and the ripples that go out and come back. And it turns out that the whole earth is doing this all the time. And we're the beings that get to choose to do this or not. This is the heart chakra in Hinduism. This is the Star of David. This is the Merkaba. This is called the chariot in our tradition. So the next step is to be able to do this, to have them be side by side. And if you have dreams of you're riding a bicycle or you're trying to keep the balance, this is our work. So the name, I am who am, the divine name isn't some power out there that you're going to like do amazing things and defeat the earth as the most powerful leader. It's us. And it's not only us, but this is contained in all that is. And this is the message that's contained in the seal of our own American dream. So I'm inviting you to remember that our dream is based on the dreaming of the people. It's not being in charge and having great ideas. It comes from the dream of the people. What I'm talking about now is something I think Robert Oppenheimer wished someone would have had to say, because he realized what happened, and he realized that he wanted it to stop, and he had nothing to stop it. But it's on us now. We have the work to do. And if we don't do this work, it does not get done. We all have to dream and remember it, I think, especially now, for the children, for the grandchildren, and for the future generations. Thank you very much.
We're open for comments or questions. Go ahead, Diane.
That was fabulous. One of the things when you say we have to remember, it's also remembering ourselves together as that one. And that's a beautiful thing. So thank you.
Thank you. Just talk, yeah.
I just want to make a comment that I felt that this message was so appropriate for where I am at in my life. I mean, it was different words, it was poetic, it was beautiful, and it makes so much sense from what I'm learning. It's different words, different feeling, but it's exactly the same, exactly where I'm at. And I just wanted to tell you, thank you so much for bringing Chris here to us, because you're a true gift, and I just loved what you brought here for us today. Thank you. Thank you.
I want to thank you. I was told many years ago by a very prominent spiritualist and how important remembering our dreams are. And it's hard to do at first because we're so used to just waking up in the morning, the alarm hits and boom, we got to get up, get out the door, do whatever we do. I started, and it's important to try and journal your dreams. Even if you wake up in the middle of the night, have a little piece of paper and just write a few notes down. And then at a later time, read it. It doesn't have to be a long thing. I journal every morning. I journal my dreams. I journal my things that happened to me during the day, my experiences. And I found that, and it's certainly amazing how, like you said, you can actually change your dreams. You can actually change your life and where you go by paying attention to your dreams. It will give you the symbolism. It will give you the direction. It will help you. And like you said, you talk to somebody who knows. And I talked to another spiritual friend of mine who actually knows how to read symbolism and helps me explain what the symbolism of this particular thing was in the dream. So if you have the opportunity, it's a very good idea, if you can, journal. It doesn't have to be a long thing, you don't have to spend a lot of time, but it will help you move forward. So thank you for presenting that, and thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I wanted to thank you for that image, well, for everything you said in your beautiful music and song. The way you turned the father one on the top and you turned to the side, because I've done a lot of my life for bringing up matriarchy and goddess energy and the female mind and all that sort of stuff. It's not about topping what exists. You gave me an image to be able to explain to people. It's not about topping, it's about making people.
Thank you.
Thank you for your talk. That was beautiful. A couple things. As a scientist, did you teach math?
French.
French.
Oh,
Well, you have math. You showed us the mathematics of the first one of the yin and the yang, the positive and the negative, as our world is splitting apart, with the zero in the middle. And then you showed us the fractions of the wholeness, and that represents infinity, because there's no end to what you showed us, and there's no end to our existence. And thank you for the caveat of your talk for next week, when I'm talking about being a spiritualist in a world of separation. And I thank you for leading into that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just kind of thought about beautifully put it into the sign. Is it the time?
Thank you.
Really good. It goes along with what I was watching Joel talk about praying. And I realized, I know he talked more. Really, when you pray for another, moving energy, you're moving it in a direction forward. And but it's got to be in a forward motion. So it's like, I love the prayer. Thank you for helping me realize like full destiny. I did that. And I'm like, oh, good. I don't have to worry about how it's going to happen. And I put that out. So why can't I wish that for my sister and my husband and everybody else? And if you're in a second place doing that helps them in a moment that they might not be aligned enough, but it's still a doesn't matter. So that kind of reinforces the distance out there. So that's really cool. Completely different way of looking at it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. One more.
Chris, I just want to say thank you so much for your talk. And one thing I really, a couple of things I really appreciated was when you put the mother and the father side by side. Because the divine feminine has been suppressed in the ages. And we've been taught like all the fathers, period. It's like, no, we need both. And we live a full life. And so I'm glad you did that. But as you said, dream is really that's our original thought. I mean, we have like that's what we need to focus on. That's what we need to do. So I'm glad you mentioned that. We're able to feel the emotion. I feel like that means so crying. If we can share that with someone who's like open-minded, someone who's in tune with us. I know we want to share dreams, but we share with the right person. A wise elder, wise. That's when you can start to hold that dream to reality. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chris. I just want to add that I'm going to tell those every time. Thank you for this, because every time you share this talk, it's been a couple times now, I always learn something new, but something that every time we leave the Church of the Angels, it's just like, I really love the Church of the Angels, and I love everybody in it, because you guys are doing such great work with changing the world, and just also in mediumship, how we share with everyone, and it helps comfort and bring comfort. It's a sense of wiping the tears in service. Thank you for all the work you do and how you walk. That's definitely one of the things that makes me love you so much. I don't know where we're at. Okay. All right. To usher in our time for healing, truth, and messages from Spirit, please rise for our next song.
It's the Eagle chant. It's on the other side of the. So if we could read this